Are we truly free? And if not, why?
The Caribbean Center for Human Rights strives to address systemic injustices and empower communities across the Caribbean, one of which is the Savings Law Clause embedded in the constitution of several Caribbean countries. A savings law clause is a provision that preserves existing laws from being overturned by new constitutional provisions, particularly those related to fundamental rights. Breaking the Chains, the Fight for Justice Beyond Colonial Laws is the title of the CCHR's book, which specifically addresses the clause and its implications.
The book is meant to speak to the entire Anglophone Commonwealth Caribbean because they all experience a similar journey, even though we may see different phenomena in Jamaica because they have actually adjusted their constitution, their savings law clause, but it still has a savings law clause. Belize is the only constitution that actually had a time stamp. Their savings law clause only operated for 5 years and then it no longer functioned. But for the rest of the Caribbean, Trinidad is pretty much equally behind the other countries.
Co-author, attorney at law and director at CCHR, Ria Mohammed Davidson, noted that even though the area of law covered in the book is complex, it was written with everyone in mind.
What we tried to do and expended great effort at doing is making sure that the material is presented in a way that is accessible, because that is something else that is a big part of our vision at the Caribbean Center for Human Rights. Making law and making human rights accessible to persons. Because when you know your rights, you will see that people treat you quite differently. And when we create a conversation about human rights, everyone is going to benefit from that. So even though this is a book about law, it's not a book for only lawyers. Anyone can pick it up and read it, and it's digestible information in the way that it's presented.
Chairman of the CCHR, Dr. Carolyn Gomes, gave several examples of laws that are still on the books that seem irrelevant now. She said what needs to be addressed is the thinking behind preserving these savings laws.
Peddling. You want to open up the back of your car because you're a vegetable person, you have a lot of vegetables to sell. You better have a license. And you have to go and pay somebody. So we don't know that they're saved until we end up in jail and try and challenge it. And that's one thing we need to have those conversations as people. Is this what we want to impose? Do we want to keep the right of somebody to flog you with a cat o' nine tails? Is that right?
Though the book does not specifically answer the question on what to do about these clauses, Dr. Afonso said it does give options to regional governments on the way forward.
The problem is that some 65 years after we've become independent, those laws are still on our books, even though the British have abolished the laws themselves. And we, in our identification of who we are, seem to think that those laws reflect who we are, and that's an issue that we have now, and this is when I think colonization has really become a successful concept, that the colonized actually begin to feel that what has been imposed on them is a reflection of who they are as a people, and that is not true.
Breaking the Chains is now available, and copies can be requested through the Caribbean Center for Human Rights website. Ayana Carter, TTT News.